So now we're going to take a look at the main setup menu, which we access by pressing setup. And by scrolling through this menu, we see we've got device setup, mode setup, n equals 0.6, power down, surface area, building volume, European separator, figs, and so on. So let's talk about all of these individually. First of all, device setup has its own little video, so you should definitely watch that, and that will show you how to set up the DM-2 for your particular device. Add the devices in you have and remove the devices you don't, so you don't have to scroll through a whole series of devices. It will always go back to where you set it last when you shut the unit off, which is a very handy feature. The next one is the mode setup. Again, there's another video on that, and you should review that, and it shows you the function of the mode key, or the number 1 key. You should definitely go through that video as well. N equals 0.6 is the extrapolation value that's used when you press the at key, and that may be a bunch of technical mumbo jumbo for most of you, but suffice it to say that for ducts you usually keep it at 0.6, or for leaky houses 0.6 is fine, or for tight houses 0.65 is okay. That would also include average houses. Super tight houses might be 0.7. All this does is to slightly improve the extrapolation rate to the pressure that you want when you're using the at pressure key. And it's something you don't really have to know about. If you don't really understand it, I would say just leave it alone. The next setting is the power down key, which means in this case if no keys are struck in 2 hours, the unit will shut itself down. And you can change that by simply pressing the enter key. In this case we can change it to 4 hours, enter, and it's going to power down in 4 hours. So we scroll down again, you notice that power down has changed to 4 hours. Surface area units are the units that it will request when you're in a mode that requires flow or leakage area per square foot. So it can be per square foot of envelope, per square meter of envelope, and you merely change that by pressing the number 6 key or the 4 key, which is the left-right arrow keys, and you'll notice you can change to square meters or square feet depending on what country you're in. In the case of building volume, in North America we'll be using cubic feet, or FT with a little 3, which is feet cubed. And in Europe we'll be using cubic meters, so you can change those units as well. That doesn't have any impact if you don't use a mode that requires either square feet or, in this case, cubic feet or cubic meters. We scroll once more, and again in Europe and many countries they have 1,000 as 1.000, and in North America it's 1,000. So that changes the compass separator for Europe. For the North Americans, we don't have to worry about that. Significant digits, we can change that and have fewer or lesser digits on the display. You can experiment with that and see which one you prefer. I believe this is set at 3.5, which I think is the maximum, and it can go from 3.5, 2.5 to 3, and the 0.5 I believe is 500ths. So you can experiment with that and set that which in a position that suits you. So that concludes the basic setup, and I will exit right now and get back to the main menu.